$31.7 billion. That is a massive number, right? In 2025, the global recorded music industry actually hit this wild milestone. I mean, it's the absolute highest point the industry has ever seen. We're talking 11 straight years of growth here, mostly driven by this massive surge in streaming worldwide and a totally hungry, ever-expanding audience. On paper, it looks like an absolute golden age for music. But here's where things get a little jarring. While the industry overall is raking in tens of billions of dollars, the median income for a professional musician is stuck at just $20,000 a year. That is well below a living wage in most of the developed world. So we've got a booming, record-breaking global industry on one hand, and artists literally struggling to pay rent on the other. How can both of these realities exist at the exact same time?
Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking the paradox of plenty, demystifying the music industry's missing billions. We're basically going to play detective and solve the central mystery of modern music economics. Where does all this money actually flow, and why in the world isn't it reaching the vast majority of creators who actually make the music we all love? Here's how we're going to break it all down today. 1. The $30 billion boom. 2. The superstar economy. 3. The streaming royalty flaw. 4. The fan economy pivot. And 5. Fixing music's future. All right, let's dive into part 1, a $30 billion boom and the industry rebound. So here's the big picture success story. In 2025, global revenue grew by 6.4%. That's actually an acceleration from the year before. We're now looking at 837 million paid streaming subscriptions globally. We are inching so close to that 1 billion mark. And get this. The electronic music sector alone is now valued at a staggering $15.1 billion. Plus, physical formats? Yeah, they aren't dead. Vinyl and CDs actually bounce back to an 8% growth rate, totally outpacing digital downloads. The pie is getting undeniably bigger. Moving on to part 2, the superstar economy, where the winner takes all. Now, to understand our core mystery, we really have to talk about something called the superstar effect. This was first theorized by an economist named Sherwin Rosen. Basically, it's an economic phenomenon where a tiny percentage of top performers captures a disproportionately massive share of all the money. Think about it. In the old days, a singer's audience was physically limited by the size of the concert hall. But the digital age, it gave us infinite distribution. And instead of democratizing wealth like we thought it would, the internet actually amplified the extremes. It created what economists call a true winner-takes-all society. A recent study out of the University of Leeds revealed some absolutely staggering stats about this. The top 1% of artists, they account for between 77 and 80% of all streams. Meanwhile, if you want to earn a sustainable living, you need roughly 1 million streams every single month. Because of this massive concentration of wealth at the very top, the long tail of everyday artists remains pretty much in obscurity, fighting for just fractions of a penny. And that right there is exactly why that median income is anchored at $20,000. Economists actually have a literal mathematical formula to explain why your favorite pop star completely dominates the charts. I definitely won't make you do the calculus right now, but the punchline is this. Digital distribution has virtually zero marginal cost. If you want to listen to a song, it costs the streaming platform the exact same amount to stream a global megastar as it does some unknown indie band playing in a garage. Because there's no extra cost to deliver the absolute best or most popular product, the biggest stars just effortlessly dominate the market. It leaves very little room for anyone else. Which brings us to part 3, the streaming royalty flaw and the core mechanism behind it. Let me ask you something directly. When you pay your $9.99 monthly subscription fee for Spotify or Apple Music, where do you actually think that money goes? You'd probably assume that if you only listen to a local indie rock band, your $10 goes straight to them, right? Well, that is absolutely not how it works. See, the industry currently operates on what's called a service-centric or pro-rata licensing model. That's just a fancy way of saying every single subscriber's $9.99 gets thrown into one giant global pool of money. Then that pool is divided up based on the total share of global streams. Now, there is a proposed alternative called user-centric or subscriber share licensing. That model would simply take your specific $9.99 and divide it only among the artists you actually chose to listen to that month. Makes sense, right? But right now, the current model creates this massive cross-subsidization. Imagine slicing up the streaming pie. Because heavy streamers, like, say, teenagers playing top 40 pop playlists on loop all day long, rack up thousands of streams. They totally dominate the global pool. So if you're a casual listener who only plays, I don't know, 10 jazz songs a month, the vast majority of your subscription fee is actually given to the megastars that the heavy users are streaming. Your money literally goes to artists you never even played. It's a system that rewards repeatability, not actual fandom. And, well, there's a much darker side to this giant pool of money. Because royalties are pooled by total global streams, bad actors can just set up bot farms to artificially generate millions of fake plays. This streaming click fraud is literally siphoning money directly out of that shared pool. They are stealing right from the pockets of hardworking, legitimate musicians. It is a system that is just highly, highly vulnerable to manipulation. Okay, part 4, the fan economy pivot, or basically adapting to survive. Given the brutal reality of this pro-rata streaming model, artists and labels are increasingly just abandoning the fight for those fractional cents. They're completely changing their business models. And part of this pivot involves where the industry is actually looking for its growth. Data from the IFPI shows that the US market, while still number 1, is maturing. It only had a 3.3% growth rate. The real explosion? That's happening in the global south. Latin America grew by 17.1%, Sub-Saharan Africa by 15.2%, and China grew by over 20%. Officially crashing into the global top 4 markets. The industry is being forced to look far beyond traditional Western strongholds just to find new, dedicated fans. So how does an artist actually survive today? Well, they rely on the fandom economy. Step 1 is live touring and shows. This is where the real money is made now, because concert tickets are one of the few physically scarce resources left in music. Step 2 is VIP and direct-to-fan experiences, basically monetizing the superfans through merchandise and exclusive access. And Step 3 is sync licensing, which means getting your music placed in films, video games, and TV shows. Today, recorded music is almost treated like a promotional loss leader. You put the music out just to sell these other higher-margin experiences. And finally, part 5, fixing music's future, the next chapter. The leaders of the industry are definitely sounding the alarm on all of this. Victoria Oakley, the CEO of the IFPI, recently said this: "The entire music community must take action to tackle the threats facing our industry. Streaming fraud is theft, plain and simple. Whether it's combating click farms, navigating the sudden explosion of AI-generated music, or finally rethinking that pro-rata royalty pool, there's a unified recognition right now. The economic ecosystem needs vital protection to ensure human artistry can actually survive and thrive." So, I want to leave you with this final thought. You now know the paradox. You know all about the superstar effect, the cross-subsidization of the pro-rata pool, and the daily hustle artists face just to earn a living wage inside this massive $31 billion machine. Knowing where your $9.99 actually flows, how will you value the music you stream today? Are you going to buy a concert ticket, maybe pick up a vinyl record, or push for a fairer streaming model? Because the future of the music industry doesn't just depend on the artists. It heavily depends on how we, the listeners, choose to participate in it.